In the previous movie, we saw how the nose was created. That was a nose in profile. Here, we're looking at a nose straight on. Now, the techniques are pretty much the same. However, there are a few little changes that need to be added. Here we have two different nostrils. And you can see that because of the slight angle that we're looking at them, we see a different type of a view. Now, your particular person that you're doing, if they are a real person, well, you really have to look at the structure of their nose. If you're making them up, well, they can have 4 nostrils. They could be some kind of an alien. It doesn't matter. But if you're creating someone's face, then it's very important to get all those little indentations and such that make up the character of that face. Now, when we look at this image here, let's go in here and look at the layers for it. And we see that we have right here a group for the nose itself. Now I'm going to turn off this top layer, which is the comp layer. You can see that there was a little modification done to the comp layer before it was brought over to the other file. Now, right here, we see that we have various layers, and they all have masks. So let's start looking at some of those. Here's the nostrils themselves. If I turn that off, there it goes. She can't breathe. So let's turn this back on so she can breathe again. And it has a mask. What makes the entire shape of the nostrils is basically the mask. Because if I turn off the mask right here, and I hold down my shift key to turn it off, I click on the mask, and there you can see that it's just shapes that were painted in there. They're dark in the center and along this edge using the burn tool just to create those darker edges. And then here it's kind of rough. It doesn't matter because it's the mask that's going to set the final shape for the nostril. So when I turn the mask back on, right there, you can see that it has now taken on the form of the realistic looking nostrils. Now, if you want to see the mask by itself, you hold on the Option key, Alt on the PC, and click on the mask. There's the mask. Now, the mask looks a little strange, but I'm basically going in there and painting with black to hide and soften the edges that I want. So there, when you see the mask in place, you can see how the nostrils have taken their shape. The other areas like dark tones, here we see some darks being applied, and so on. And then there's this little area. This is actually down in the lower left, down here. And then you have these upper darks, which is these other areas along the eyes here. And then there's that little highlight right there. Its own little layer that creates this little highlight that just adds a little sheen that makes the overall scene look real. So the nose is basically the same as the profile, with the difference here that we're seeing a different angle and 2 nostrils as opposed to 1. But the techniques are all exactly the same.